Dover is by far one of my favorite racetracks. The sheer speed these cars carry off the turns and through the straightaways will get your blood going, I don't care who you are. Now on pit road, we don't get to see much of the racetrack, pretty much just the front stretch, but Dover is an exception. We almost see half of turn 4, full front stretch, and all the way into turn 1, which makes it even more exciting for us to be there. Our first question this week comes from probably our most active Ask MWR participator. From Twitter, Old Red Grizzbear, asking what are our plans for a quick last-minute driver swap in case Clint Bowyer's on baby watch and has to exit the racetrack. Well, the first thing we're going to do is swap out the seat. Now, these seats are custom made to a certain extent. Clint Bowyer runs the aluminum Butler style seat that has the custom insert, and this can be swapped very quickly. But if we had a backup driver that was in a carbon seat, these are custom molded around the driver's body. That would mean we'd have to do a swap that was a lot more extensive. We would pull the aluminum seat out, switch the rails and mounts, and put the carbon seat inside. Not only this, we're gonna have to switch the steering column arrangement and possibly the pedal pads out as well. We'll take a look at that over at another car. So with the driver swap, you have to take account the orientation of the steering wheel so that he has it where he needs it to be. To do this, we adjust the steering column. We measure this from 3 different spots. The apex of the back seat in between the driver's shoulder blades to the center of the steering wheel, and also from the A-post to the steering column. We're talking about a full hour to do this full driver interior swap. And most likely NASCAR would work with us if this came into account by giving us an extra hour of garage time before or after practice. This week, our top question goes to Emma Griffiths, asking if the drivers have a preference to the layout of these dashboards. Well, typically the layout of the dash is standard across the board, but every now and then you run across a driver who's kind of picky and likes his gauges in a different orientation. But let's dive inside and take a closer look. Now, NASCAR mandates the arrangement of only one switch, and that's the starter, the ignition switch. Everything else can be where the driver wants it, but typically everything is as you see here, with the front brakes and the bead blowers being on top and the rears in the back, with the left and right in their appropriate orientation of center. Now, there's a lot of adjustments that a driver can make inside this car. First off, he's going to set the tach for his pit road speed. And as you see, this is only a tachometer and not a speedometer, so you can't see exactly how fast you're going as far as miles per hour. What they're looking for is a top RPM at a certain gear, and then he sets the peak for it. Now, if he gets going faster than pit road speed, this whole thing lights up in red and flashes and lets him know that he's going too fast. Other adjustments that he can make are for peak water pressure, peak oil temperature, and also he can adjust these front and left, right, and back rear bead blowers over his tires. And what he's doing here is he's diverting heat to some and taking it away from another to change the handling of the race car on the racetrack. Another area of the race car that the driver can adjust while inside here on the racetrack are his brakes. Not only does he have brake fans, but he also has a lever that allows him to adjust the brake bias to even the braking percentage out when he's on the racetrack or when he's coming off onto pit road.
4,000 now, do not speed, too light.
Now, coming onto pit road, the drivers pull their brake lever to even their brake bias out so they can carry the most amount of speed off the track and onto the apron, and then decrease this speed as fast as possible so that they limit the amount of time it takes for them to get onto pit road. We close out this week with our final question from Slim Bolin, asking about the 2015 NASCAR rule changes and if that affects our wind tunnel testing. Now, we don't have a wind tunnel at the shop. We leave here and take all of our cars on a flatbed to go to a wind tunnel facility every Monday to test them. Now, Brian, I assume you asked this question regarding NASCAR's rule change about at-track testing. Now, wind tunnel tests do not account for this. Neither do computer simulation tests that we do at the shop as well. That kicks off this week, and we roll into Kansas with a head of steam and try and get a win at Clint Bowyer's home track. Keep your questions coming, and remember to use the hashtag AskMWR.